Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Passionate Talk. I am your host, Gary Karp, and this is episode number 21. We have hit blackjack, and it feels great. I am having so much fun talking with these people and getting their truth nuggets. This has really been an incredible experience, and I hope that you're enjoying these conversations as well. Today is the second half of my conversation with Orly. We're going to talk about her favorite client and the importance of open and honest communication. She's also going to talk about her biggest challenges and her mud puddle story. We'll talk about the importance of not your fault. And Orly has some great advice that she's going to give for people wanting to start a business. She's also going to talk a little bit about the importance of passion and focus. So right now, folks, I want you to relax, sit back, grab a cup of coffee, make yourself some tea, and get ready to listen to the second half of my conversation with Orly.
So I started studying the brain, and I did not want to become one of those gurus that just takes out words out of the dictionary that nobody understands and just say them just so I can look smart. I decided to put it into layman words, and that's my book that's coming out. It's called The 12 Powers We Hold Within. Has a little bit of everything that I teach and that I taught you, Gary, through our sessions. But this has been my passion. That's what made me decide to help others, and how I've been doing it is through my program.
So through that journey, and I can't imagine what it must have been like to go through all those experiences and still have a positive attitude and still see a light at the end of the tunnel, and then turn around and dedicate your life to empowering others and making sure that they never have to go through what you did. Going through that journey, what do you think were the lessons that you took from those things?
Is the more you think about your aggressors, you are actually still reliving all these aggressions. So to stop thinking about it. It's not about suppressing it. It's not about forgetting it. It's about just not thinking about it. Find a way to think about something else. And this is still a struggle. It's not, it doesn't go away. Doesn't mean I don't remember what happened. It doesn't mean I don't think about it once in a while. But when I do, I have a way to get out of that mode within 30 seconds. And there's a reason behind that.
And I think that's very important, because so many people out there, when they start talking about personal development and they start thinking about personal improvement and self-help, thinks that you're going to read a book and immediately it's going to go away. You're going to do one meditation and everything in your life is going to be fine. And that's not it. What coaches like Orly do, what other people do, what Tony Robbins does, and Deepak Chopra does, and what the late Wayne Dyer did, is give you the tools. They hand you a toolbox, because just because you have the tools doesn't mean you're going to go back there. Just because someone tells you not to think about something doesn't mean you're not going to be triggered at some point in your life. So if that does happen to anyone out there who's trying to make a better life for themselves, just remember, you're human. And you have this toolbox that you can reach into and immediately get yourself out of that state and immediately start thinking about something better, whether you do it by playing music or buying yourself an ice cream cone or calling up a girlfriend and talking. There are ways of managing those things, but you're always going to go back there. So don't think that the journey is to attain perfection. Perfection does not exist. It doesn't. And if you try to chase perfection, you're going to set yourself up for a load of pain. The key is, as Orly just said and shared with us, is to be able to get yourself out of those states when you start revisiting those mindsets and those bad memories, to be able to get out of those areas in 30 seconds or a minute or 5 minutes so you can go on with your day.
Hmm. Exactly.
And Orly, I know that you work with a lot of people. Would you mind sharing a story of your favorite client, someone that you looked at and when you first took them on, you were like, well, maybe they'll get it, maybe they won't. And they turned into be this rock star, this superstar, took everything you did and really launched their life in a different direction and into the stratosphere?
Where are we talking about my mindset mastery program?
It could be anything. It could be your
Okay.
mindset mastery program. It could be your public speaking, coaching. It could be when you were doing real estate speaking. The one client that you were most proud of, where you said to yourself, yeah, I am very proud of how I helped this, but I'm more proud of them for actually changing their life.
So I have two stories like that, but I'll keep it short for each one. One of them is a financial planner that I met through mutual friends. And he told me that he has no time to hire me or to learn about what I do, that the only time we can meet is on a Saturday morning. And I said, okay, let me meet you on Saturday morning. So I went and met with him at his office. At that point, he tells me, okay, tell me about what you do. What exactly do you do? I don't understand this. And I said, well, if I am going to tell you, it's not going to be as impactful as if I show you. So I showed him, I'm a certified behavior analyst. So I showed him about the different personality types. Um, I showed him the words that we talk in, that are statements that we use that are affecting us. Well, after he saw that, he's like, oh my God, nobody has ever presented this like this to me where I can understand it. And I would like to hire you. So, right there and then, he writes a check and we start working together. In one of our sessions, his communication with his brother was a little bit of off, and he felt that his brother did not include him. And although his brother is the president of the company and he is the generator of money in that company, that's what made them go well together. They were not talking. Things happened that nobody really knows what happened. And so I told him, I said, your brother lost trust in you. And unless you have the conversation with him, you will not be able to gain that trust back. I said, take your brother to lunch, tell him how you feel, ask him why, and see, and stay in that rational state that I talk about and see how that goes. Well, the week after, he told me that it was a success, that I saved his relationship with his brother because he was going to fire his brother, and that I just saved him millions of dollars because of my way of approaching things and the way that I taught him how to approach it.
Well, that's actually wonderful. You not only saved the guy a business and millions of dollars in the business, but you saved a family relationship. And family relationships are really what it's all about. All relationships, personal relationships, are the most important thing. And I think that that story tells us a valuable lesson that the most important thing is communication. None of us are mind readers. None of us can really know what's going on inside the other. So if you're having an issue with someone that you care about, let them know, not just by a text message or an email. Call them up, take them to lunch, buy them a cup of coffee, and rationally, as unemotionally as you can, explain to them what the issues you're having with them. Open communication is always the best way to repair and also to strengthen any relationship that's out there. And that's a beautiful story that you just gave us. Now, you said there was a second one. What's the second one?
The second one is one of my clients was working with me for over a year, and then she asked me if I would take on her sister. And when I started working with her sister, I said, look, your sister needs to want the help. Her sister was on heavy antidepressant medication. She was drinking. And I started working with her. And after about 3 months, she had dropped already a couple of the medication, and then she dropped completely her drinking. And she's very, very successful until today. She has not touched it. She is in a very healthy relationship where before she was chasing love and and not respecting herself and allowing herself to be loved and treated in the right way. And so I'm very proud of that. Very, very proud of that.
Okay, you've told us a couple of your success stories. Now I'm going to ask you to share with our audience some of the challenges you've had on your journey in building these coaching businesses and reaching out and touching these people, and your goal of influencing and impacting 200 million people by the year 2025. What are some of the challenges that you've encountered during this journey, and how have you overcome them?
Great question. There were many challenges. There were business challenges where I hired people that stole from me. There were challenges where I felt drained, yet I had to keep going. And what you need to do is just focus. So it took a lot of conversation as to staying focused, staying on track. How do you stay focused when you're looking at their bank account and your bank account is extremely low or has no money in it? How
Mm-hmm.
do you stay focused and keep going where you get 50 no answers as opposed to one yes answer? One client once told me, you cannot show people that you're struggling. People think that you're on top of the world. And I was refusing to do that because I
Okay.
believe that your vulnerability and your humanity shows people that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And that was my mud puddle story, because if you have a mud puddle and somebody is standing with you on one side of it, then how do you both get through it? Well, if you're able to get through it because you just know how, where to walk, etc., then that's the only way that you're going to be able to pull the other person through that mud puddle.
And that brings up a really good question. A lot of us, myself included, feel that we cannot show that vulnerable side to be truly vulnerable and talk about our challenges and get it out. So, how do you deal with that? Who do you turn to when you just have to be Orly Amor human and not Orly Amor coach?
I do prefer not to talk to even my friends or my colleagues about it. So I do have a coach myself. Don't ever hire a coach that does not have a coach, by the
Some
way.
of the best advice she's ever given me, folks.
I have 5 coaches, one on the financial side, one on the speaking side, one on the business side, and a couple of others. They took me under their wing, and I am privileged to have them. So when I need something, I can call. And
And
believe me, I call once in a while and I cry and I let it all out. And then I get the wisdom part, which is more important to me, is that wisdom. One of my employees um, really hurt me badly. And that person was very accusatory and very, all of a sudden, just turned on me in a very bad way. And I felt so betrayed, so hurt by this circumstance, that I had to make that call to this one guy. And so he answered the phone and he said to me, and I told him what had happened in detail. And then he said to me this: this is not a reflection on you. This is a reflection on them. It's probably by jealousy that that this person reacted the way she did. All you got to do is just say to yourself, you did nothing wrong. But I wouldn't have been able to get over it if I didn't have somebody slap me in the face and say, you did nothing wrong, get over it, tomorrow's a better day.
now you said something at the beginning of that and at the end that I think is extremely invaluable. The first one is that you have a small group of people that you can turn to. And folks, it's extremely important whether you are an entrepreneur or a business coach or some sort of coach and you can't let the world see your vulnerable side. Or even if you're working 9 to 5 in a cubicle environment and you don't want your bosses or your fellow coworkers to see that vulnerable side and when you're in pain, you still need to have that small group of people, that support system that you can turn to and just let your hair down, so to speak, and let it all out, who will be there for you in a non-judgmental way to let you move through those experiences. The second thing you said towards the end that I find is so important is that it's not your fault. People are going to love you and people are going to hate you, and it's going to have nothing to do with you. So you just got to keep living your life as authentically as possible and stop trying to live by the stories other people have for you. Because when they love you or whether they hate you, they're making that judgment call based on their beliefs, based on their experiences. And as long as you try to please them or please everybody, you're never going to be able to please yourself. You can't let anyone live rent free in your head. You really can't. And Orly, right now you mentioned some projects that are going to help you move towards that 200 million people. Would you like to tell our audience a little bit about what those are in general terms?
Well, one of them is a book series that we are inviting people who have a good success story to come and share with us, with the audiences, and basically be a part of this book series where they can have a chapter in the book. That book will be distributed in a large quantity, so there is a way to quantify how many people we will reach that way. There is a conference called Social Wow Factor that once a year it happens on a cruise and once a year it happens on land. So just go visit socialwowfactor.com to know more about that. There's also another company that I own, and is called the Global Mentoring Center, which is a platform for speakers, authors, and coaches to get hired. So it's a great opportunity for us to reach the masses. And there's a counter on each one of these websites to let us know how many people visit, and that's how we're also going to combine the effort of knowing how many people we've touched. The last but not least one is the Health and Wellness Network of Commerce, is a platform for health professionals, practitioners, service product providers to network with corporate professionals. Not to mention that I am speaking all the time and writing books and just like you, Gary, doing podcasts, all those things that are a combination of how we're going to get to this number.
Yeah, and folks, let me tell you, she is this busy, she is this driven, and she is also one of the most generous, compassionate people I have met. She has given so much of her time to me and to others that goes well beyond the scope of coaching. She's one of my favorite people of all time.
Aww.
And well, Orly, I don't give you enough compliments. It's just the nature of our relationship, but you truly are one of the most beautiful people I've ever met.
Thank you.
And I know that there may be people right now that are listening to this podcast that are struggling through challenges, that maybe want to take the leap into entrepreneurship or want to strengthen that relationship. What advice would you give them? What steps could they practically take in order to get to where they're going, to overcome that challenge? Or even if they want to seek out a coach, either you or someone else, how would you tell them to go about that?
So those were two questions. So one of them, for creating a business, we tend to do we tend to come up with ideas, and many ideas are great, but there's nobody there to implement those ideas. So I would tell you to first, whatever the idea is, learn about it, study it properly so that you are super well educated in it and see if it's really a good fit for you. I mean, I do have my reason, but I need to like what I do. And not everybody likes what they do. Actually, there is a statistic that 50% of Americans don't like what they do for a living. They're not happy.
You touched on passion. How important is passion in everyday living? Because passion is one of these esoteric things that we talk about in foo-foo shishi terms, but how important is it in being successful in everyday life?
That's a great question because I would ask back a question to a person asking me, how do I get the passion? Well,
Okay.
think about think about what energizes you. What excites me every single day to do what I do, to get going, to call people, to meet people. I mean, it doesn't stop. And sometimes, believe me, it's a drag. And I agree with whoever is out there listening that it might be a drag, and they're probably shaking their head saying, "Yeah, sometimes it's a drag, Orly." Yes. If you go back into your passion and you go, "Why did I even start this business?" Well, you'll see that your passion, your excitement comes back, and then you say, "Yeah, I need to get back on track. I need to get focused." Stay on it. Stay on that passion. Don't let it leave you, because things will happen. You said earlier, life just happens. I don't believe life happens. I believe you structure your life around what you need to do. But if you have a focus, you are able to get back on track fast enough that you won't let any other deterrent or something that will distract you from your goal.
I love that word focus. I think that's also what you're talking about right here is you have to structure your life. You have to put your intention out there and take actions, conscious actions on those intentions every day and stay focused on it. Because if you're not focused on it every single day, then the everyday life stuff, the dog being sick, the fight you had with your boss, the being stuck on the subway, whatever it is, will start to creep into your head. The focus you have to have is extremely laser driven. And a lot of people like to refer to the law of attraction. And it's one part of the law of attraction that people often miss is that focus, is that intention. So I want to thank you for bringing that up, Orly, because it is vitally important for everyone to have is that focus.
The one thing that people also do is because they don't stay focused, they get other habits that are formed that are completely against their mission. So those habits become them and they don't realize it, and then they just take over, and what they call it is life happened. It's
Yep.
not, and so life does not just happen.
And right now, Orly, I know we spoke a little bit about the book series and you talked about the Global Mentoring Center, but I want to give you an opportunity right now to plug anything else that you want to plug, or if you wanted to continue to talk more about the Global Mentoring Center or the Health and Wellness Network of Commerce, go ahead. Tell people a little bit about them and how they can get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you and work with you or just talk with you.
Thank you so much. Well, the Global Mentoring Center is a work in progress, but it is there already. As if you think about Angie's List and Match.com and Yelp for authors, speakers, and coaches, it's a platform that matches event planners with the speakers and so on. We also have a publishing house, and we are looking for authors who want to be a part of our book series. The book series itself is called Success Works, and the subtitle though is going. And by the time you listen to this podcast, there's going to be probably another book in the works. So if you are interested in participating in that, just contact me, Orly Amor. But the email is orly@orlyamor.com, and the number to call is 917-515-6803. And again, we have also the Social Wow Factor conference, which is called Find Your Voice and Make a Difference, a women's empowerment conference. It will be held in New Jersey on January 26, 27, and 28, 2018. And again, if you'd like to have more information on how to be a speaker in that conference or how to attend, you can either visit socialwowfactor.com or you can call me at 917-515-6803 or email me at orly@orlyamor.com.
And can they get you in touch with you? Can they find you on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, things like that?
Absolutely. You will be able to visit my website, orlyamor.com, and connect with me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, all over the place.
Orly, is there anything, last words that you want to leave our listeners with?
Yes, especially when finding a coach. Speak to a few of them. Speak to a few coaches before hiring one. Make sure that there's chemistry for you with that person. A coach is not a dictator. A coach is somebody that has an emotional and a personal vested interest in your success. So make sure that when you choose them, you feel the same way, that they're not going to let you down, that they're going to be there for you when you need it the most. So I would just say, meet a few of them before deciding. Make sure it's good chemistry.
And that is great, great advice. The same way you go through your checklist on people that you're going to date, go through the same checklist for people you want to coach you, and that because you're going to be spending a lot of time and they're going to be helping you shape your life. So definitely interview as many coaches as you can. Orly, I do want to thank you for hanging out with us a little bit today. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
Orly certainly did drop some truth nuggets on us. That was a fantastic, fantastic talk we had. I loved the story of her favorite clients, of the CEO and businessman whose business she helped save $1 million. And more importantly, the fact that she was able to repair the CEO's relationship with his brother. The family relationships are really the most important thing here. It's not the business, it's not the money. It's the relationships with the people that we care about that really is what makes life worth living. The story of the woman who was an alcoholic and suffering from depression and on all these psychotropic drugs to help her with her depression. And within 3 months, this woman had her life turned around. She had valued herself. She was off most of the medication. And today she is living a happy, passionate, loving life. Her mud puddle story and the challenges that she went through, of the employees who stole from her and the employees who accused her of certain things, and how she moved beyond that. These are all great, great stories and truth nuggets that Orly has shared with us. The advice she gave to people wanting to start a business, that you should really research it and make sure that that business is right for you. And it's not just the money that you're doing it for, whether you're starting your own business as an entrepreneur or whether you're looking to go into the corporate environment and rise up the corporate ladder. Make sure that it is right with you, that it is something you're passionate about. That is great, great advice. And the conversation we had regarding passion and focus and how important both of those things are to achieve your goals was great. I love the fact that she talked about the importance of not your fault. That anytime there's a disagreement with someone and someone is accusing you of something, whether they love you or they hate you, it has nothing to do with you. They are filtering through their own experiences, through their own beliefs. So don't own that guilt. Don't own that shame. It's on them. Remember, it is not your fault. And folks, if you want to get in touch with Orly and be part of the Success Works book series that she's working on, if you want to have any information on the Global Mentoring Center or the Health and Wellness Network of Commerce or the Social Wow Factor Cruise, you could reach out to Orly at the email and phone numbers that she gave. You could also find that information on www.passionatetalk.com. Just click on the interview and all the links will be there. So folks, I do have a personal favor to ask of you right now. If you can head on over to iTunes, give us a good 5-star rating and write a review. Let other people know about this podcast. If you like it, help me spread this message and help me empower as many people. Help Orly touch the lives of 200 million people. Right now, that's all the time we have for this episode of Passionate Talk. So until we meet again, follow your dreams and passions and manifest the life that you choose.